Udaditya from TechSpark bringing you yet another session covering data engineering Q&A. And in this session, we're going to talk about AWS Athena and Glue Crawler. So before starting off, I'm going to give away my brief introduction. I have been working in data engineering domain for almost 9 years with various projects. I'm involved in creating data pipelines for several clients. I also train candidates in this field to help them build an interview-ready profile with our comprehensive course covering all the necessary topics of data engineering. So before starting with the Athena or the Glue Crawler, we must need to understand what is the need of it. So let us go back and think about the Hadoop ecosystem, right? We did talk about how do we analyze the data that is sitting in Hadoop. Okay, so we can impart a schema on top of it using the Hive, and through the Hive, and also with the help of SQL queries, we can simply analyze the attributes of the data, or we can create a report out of it. So Hive was there to support the data that's lying in S3 in order to analyze it. Okay, so we need something similar in order to analyze the data that's residing in AWS S3, because instead of Hadoop, we have the S3 file system in AWS. And now, for the matter that in the AWS S3, we can just keep the file, but we cannot run any SQL queries on them, right? We can keep the semi-structured, structured, or non-structured data, but there is nothing, something similar like Hive for it to impart the schema on top of it. So that's where Athena comes in. So Athena is an SQL engine which is running on AWS, and it will simply allow you to analyze the data that is sitting in S3. And just make sure that Athena is not a physical database or physical table. Whatever it is, it's simply going to get the data from the S3 itself. It doesn't store the data on its own. So it is sort of like an S3 metastore. So that is what we can call. And there is one more thing, that is the glue crawler. Glue crawler. Okay. So if you remember that when we are keeping the data in Hadoop, the way we used to create the tables in Hive on top of that is we simply write an SQL create table statement, and that's how the table is created. Okay. So over here, we need not to write and create table statement in Athena. I mean, we can, but we chose not to as well. The reason being, there is something, a tool which is known as the glue crawler, which will simply crawl upon the data in S3, and it will infer the schema. It will, I mean, automatically deduce the schema on its own, and it will create the table. So this glue crawler, it kind of like it helps us to reduce the tedious job of creating a create table statement on our own and then running it in Athena. I mean, even though we can, but this glue crawler will automatically do this thing that we require. Okay, so let us take a look at high level what are these things are. One is the Athena, the other one is the Glue Crawler, the third one is the Glue Data Catalog. So Amazon Athena is a serverless interactive data analytics service from an open source framework. Because it supports open table and file formats, you can quickly and easily perform in-browser SQL searches of your data. So you can simply log into your AWS console, and then you can click on the AWS Athena service, and over there you can run your SQL queries in order to analyze the data that is in S3. Now next comes is the Glue Crawler. Glue crawlers are automated data discovery tools that can scan a data source to classify, group, and catalog the data within it automatically. It then creates a new or updates existing tables in your AWS Glue Data Catalog. Right. So what the glue crawler does is basically it will simply scan the data that is in S3. So when I'll be using or creating a glue crawler, I will have to provide there a S3 path. Okay. And it not necessarily be S3. I mean, there is other services which are known as the Redshift or any RDS server. We can simply create Athena tables from those data sources too. I have to create a connection in order to access the Redshift data catalog, and then I have to get the table which I want to read, the database schema and table, and it can do. But for the moment, we're going to focus on the S3 data, because in data engineering, we will be mostly playing with different structured, non-structured, semi-structured data, right? Those are not, I mean, those are an option when we are going for Redshift or RDS, because they only support formatted or structured data. Right. So this glue crawler will simply just crawl upon or scan upon the data, and automatically it will introduce the schema in the Athena. So you don't have to do anything by yourself. Okay, now coming to the third and the most important point is the Glue Data Catalog. So AWS Glue Data Catalog is an index of your data's location, schema, and runtime metrics. You need this information to create and monitor your extract, transform, and load jobs, ETL jobs. So before going for Glue data catalog, if you knew that when I was covering Hive, so I did talk about Hive data warehouse or Hive metastore, right? So what is that? So whenever there's a data sitting in Hadoop, weight structure, non-structured, semi-structured, and we are creating a Hive table on top of that. So the metadata information of that actual data, it is always going to be residing in somewhere else. That is known as the Hive metastore. Okay, that is a slash user slash Hive slash warehouse directory. So similarly, this Glue data catalog will hold the metadata information of the S3 data. Metadata information as in the rows, the column, the schema as well. I mean, overall the schema and the data types as well for each and every column. What are the data types? So all these informations will be held by Glue data catalog only. Okay, so it's kind of like a messenger or it's kind of like a vessel that's connecting between the S3 and the Athena. Glue crawler, what it does, it will scan the data and then it will update the table information or the metadata information in the Glue data catalog. So once the Glue data catalog understands, so there is a new data in S3 that the Athena table is required to be built up on, then it will hold that information over there. So this is all about the crawler, data catalog, and Athena. And if you take a look at this diagram below, so what we do is we keep the data in S3 bucket, then we run the glue crawler, and then this crawler will scan the data in S3 and it will update the glue catalog or do glue data catalog along with the metadata information. Okay, so similarly, when we create Hive tables on top of the Hadoop data, then the Hive metastore gets information with the latest metadata information. Okay, and then we can see the data or we can query the data using Amazon Athena, and also we can the result, whatever is the output after the query, we can store that also in Amazon S3 bucket. So these are the options that we have, and obviously we can connect to QuickSight dashboard. So this is not part of our course, or this is not part of our curriculum at the moment, because QuickSight dashboard or this any sort of dashboard is being used by the BI people. The data engineers have nothing to do with that. So we're not going to cover the QuickSight one, but yes, we will cover until Amazon Athena, and we will see how the Glue crawler helps to build the metadata information or update the Glue data catalog that is for the data setting in S3 bucket. Okay. So without further ado, I'm going to head on to my AWS console as usual, and yeah, from here, obviously I have to pick the Athena service, and just like for every other service, either I can search it over here or I can click from the recently visited tab. So I'm going to click on it, and if you can see the region I've chosen, it is the Asia Pacific Mumbai. So this is the Athena console, but this is the query editor. This is the query editor, and where you can run all the query, and you can simply see the results over here. So I'm going to come to it over later, and over here you can see the data source or the data catalog it is showing, and under which there is a database. So there is one data hub and there is other one that is the default. Okay, so I'm going to use the data hub database, and you can see under the data hub these tables are present. Okay, so if I run query something like show tables in data hub, and if I just click on the run, then it will also show me the tables which are under the data hub database. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a new table with the help of Glue crawler for the data setting in S3. Now let me go to my S3 bucket. I'm going to open a new tab, and yeah, so these are the buckets that are available for me, and I'm going to head on to the dummy bucket X. And there are a couple of folders, not couple, more than that. So I'm going to use this folder, EV population data ORC. So there are some ORC files that are sitting here, and I'm going to create a table on top of this. I know that both the files having the same schema, so it shouldn't have any problem. If there were like different schemas with different files, in that case, it would create different tables. I mean, I can choose either to pick one file while creating the table, or I can just pick the whole folder, and whatever files inside is will simply crawl all the files, get the metadata information of the schema, and then create the tables on Athena. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use this folder, that is the EV population data ORC, and create a table on top of that. So let me just copy the S3 URI and I will head over to AWS Glue. So mind it, I'm not going to AWS Athena, right? Athena where I can see the tables. In order to run the Glue crawlers, I have to go to AWS Glue. And also Glue itself is another ETL serverless tool. Okay, so when I say serverless, it means you don't have to create or maintain any host or any server. You don't have to log into any server. You can just do everything from the AWS console itself. When I was showing EMR, right, so I was logging in using another host or another IP using the terminal, right? So from the console itself, there is another node where I'm trying to log in. So that is something known as the servered connection. But in Glue or Athena, it's no need of that. You can do everything from the console, and that is the reason it's called serverless. Okay, so from here, I am now to the Glue homepage, and I will go into the crawler section. So if you look at the left one, so you will find the crawlers. Click on it. So currently, I don't have any crawlers running. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a crawler. Just give a name. I'll give export test crawler. Okay, rest I'll keep as it is. I'll click on the next. Then I have to choose a data source, right? So I'm gonna go to add a data source, and this is already chosen as S3. You can see there are several other data sources you can click on. So for the moment, I'm gonna create a table on top of S3 data, and connection is option for S3. Whereas if you pick something else, say you pick there is no Redshift. Yeah, I think for JDBC it is Redshift. So if I click on the JDBC, then obviously you need to provide a connection. So I don't have any JDBC table at the moment, which I want to crawl, and it's not really necessary because whatever table, be it Redshift, JDBC, Oracle, there would be automatically a schema there, right? I can go over there and choose to query the data. But S3 is something where there is no metadata information. I cannot query the data out of S3. So I need to create a table for it. So I have chosen S3 in this account. Now I have to pick the path. So I have already copied it. I can simply choose to paste it. Or else what I can do, I can go to browse and I can pick the data from itself. Okay. I then chose a wrong bucket. And from here, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna pick this one, the population data was choose. Okay. So now just look at the options. It is saying crawl all subfolders, crawl all folders again with the every subsequent crawl. So what it means, it will simply just crawl whatever the subfolders files it is. Everything will be crawled, right? Not only the files only, but if there are any other folders, it will crawl the folders and the files within those folders as well. And then there are another section which is called new subfolders only. So when it comes to partition data, right? So every day new partitions are coming in. So in that case, you can just scroll the newer latest partition, and then it will add those partitions into the metadata information of the Glue data catalog. So that is also possible over here. But now for the moment, we are just going to crawl the whole data that is in S3, and we're going to create a table. And the last one is crawl based on S3 events. So rely on S3 events to control what folders to crawl. So you can just create an S3 event that whenever some message through SQS topic or EIN is coming in, that case you can configure that. But for the moment, it is not required for us. We're not going to use any event-based crawler. We're just going to go and crawl all the subfolders. I'm going to add the source, click on it, next. And then, yes, this is very important. We have to choose an IAM role. So for the moment, I have created one. If you don't have, you can just go to create new IAM role and you can create it yourself. So just click on the next and it's done. It's very easy. Okay, so everything is done. I'm going to click on next. And then I have to pick a database. So as I just showed you, right, in my query data, so the data hub database that is already there, I've created, I'm going to use that one. So I'm going to choose data hub instead of default. And the schedule, so you can also automate the crawlers. You can run it like every hour, every day. If you know that every day the newer partitions data is being written and you want to run it on a daily basis, you can do that as well. Or you can have some custom cron expression. For the moment, I will keep it as on demand, so I will run it whenever I want. Click on the next. Okay, so I have chosen everything, like all the attributes and all the configuration setup has been done. So I'm gonna create the crawler, and the crawler is successfully created. So if I click on the refresh, right? So this is the attributes of the specification of the crawler. So now the crawler is created, but the table hasn't been created. If I just go over here and if I click on refresh, okay, I don't see that table, the population data ORC. This is another data. This is not the ORC data. So you'll see. So when I run the crawler and when it is successful, then you can see the table. So the crawler is running now. Hopefully no issue will come up. All right, so my crawler has completed its run, and now I have to go and check in the Athena query whether the table has appeared or not. Yes, it is. Now you can see the AV population data ORC, which was not there previously, and now it is coming up here. So that's how we can create a table. If you just click on this, you can see these are the columns. This is basically the schema that is present. Also, I think you can go into the crawler, and if you click on this one, so let me check in the data sources. It is AV population data ORC, classifiers, tags, crawler runs. Yeah, everything is here. Let me go to the much loss. Okay, so it will show you the table has been created. Finish writing to the catalog, and it will also show you the run summary of the table and the partition is at. Alright, so everything is set. Now if I go to my Athena and if I try to query the table, I will simply click on it and run a simple select star query. Let me put a limit as well. Yeah, you can see the data is coming up. So basically this is how we can create a table in Athena. Now we have the table in Athena and it is totally based on the S3 data set, right? It's not like the data itself is being held by Athena. Okay, so that's how we can create an Athena table on top of the S3 data, and not only that, we can use this table using Glue data transformation as well. So how can we do that? How to run transformations in Glue? How to use PySpark as well in Glue? So we will cover all these things in the later session. So for the moment, this is all. So one thing you have to understand that once you are done, right? So it's better you delete the crawler that you have just created. I mean, it's not like if you're not gonna run it, it's gonna cost you. But the fact of the matter is, maybe if you somehow forgot to put it as on demand or somehow you have automated the crawler, it will keep on running whenever the schedule is triggered. So it's always best that once it is done, you just simply delete the crawler. Okay, and then you can simply log off from your query editor and the console itself. Okay, so this is all about it for today's session. You can reach out to us to know more, to get more clarity on the data engineering course. We cover almost all the necessary tools such as Spark, Hadoop, Hive, AWS with hands-on coding and real-world project. So in order to get any job assistance or anything, just reach out to us and we will help you out. This is Udayit signing off from this session. Bye-bye.
Contact us for the free job assistance. We will help you to get the IT job. Please like, subscribe, and share the channel for more regular updates from TechSpoke.